Welcome to the business meetings for the City of Prattville. We have one public hearing before our regular council meeting. Madam Clerk, will you call the roll, please?
Councilor Strickland?
Here.
Councilor Jackson?
Here.
Councilor Chambers?
Here.
Councilor Mayer?
Here.
Councilor Dornton?
Here.
Councilor Stringent?
Here.
Councilor Booth?
Here. Having a quorum present, I call this public hearing to order. Resolution number 1 is a business license revocation Cloud9 Hookah Lounge. Is there anyone present who would like to speak in favor of this resolution? Yes, sir, Mr. Odom, please come forward.
Good evening, Madam President, members of the council. I know you have in front of you a timeline of sorts, but I wanted to walk through a timeline that I prepared of the incidents surrounding Cloud9, just for your assurance. And then after that, I'll take any questions regarding this revocation. So the business was generally licensed without liquor January 1st, 2021. And January 1st, 2022 was when Cloud9 received their liquor license. So I'm going to start after they received their liquor license and discuss incidents that have occurred since then. So we have first, July 8, 2022, there was harassment and a female was assaulted while leaving the business. August 7, 2022, disorderly conduct, and Prattville Police had to clear the parking lot that night. A week later, August 14th, disorderly conduct, loud music, and subjects refusing to leave the business. August 20th, a week after that, more harassment and a fight inside the business. September 17th, 2022, disorderly conduct, and yet again, Prattville Police had to clear the parking lot of the business. October 16th, 2022, there's a citizen dispute involving several subjects and one produced a firearm. October 17th, the next day, harassment and a physical altercation or fight in the parking lot. October 22nd, at 1 a.m., there was a 911 hang-up. And that's a serious incident with our police because anytime 911 is called and then hung up on, we have to respond. Later, that same night, October 22nd, the owner was trying to clear the business and advised one subject did have a firearm. October 28th, at 11:30 p.m. on a Friday night, more disorderly conduct, and then the owner advised officers that subjects were again fighting. That same night, at 2 a.m., a female was assaulted by several other females inside the business. At 2:30 a.m., theft of a cell phone inside the business was reported. At 2:50 a.m. that same night, it was discovered that at the direction of Cloud9's owner, a food truck had been operating in front of the business without a license. This is after the food truck ordinance went into effect. November 6th, 2022, there was another altercation inside the business, and the subject was arrested on an outstanding felony warrant. That same night, there were also harassment charges filed. One of the subjects had a gun. November 19th, shots were fired. There was a fight inside the business, and the firearm was discharged from a vehicle in the parking lot. That same night, November 19th, 2022, a female was struck in the head with a gun inside the business. Drinks were spilled everywhere, tables were overturned. Officers that went inside the business had their eyes and nose burned from pepper spray that had been sprayed during the fight that night. January 21st, 2023 at 2 a.m., there was a large crowd fighting in the parking lot. There was a subject carrying a firearm in the Cloud9 parking lot. And that subject was arrested for unlawful distribution of a controlled substance and felon in possession of a firearm. February 5th, officers yet again had to clear the parking lot for a large crowd at the direction of the owner. And I think that's important. The owner is having to constantly call law enforcement out here to correct this problem. February 26th, another 911 hang-up. Multiple people were involved in a fight outside the business, and an adult was arrested for possession of marijuana. March 5th, shots were fired again in the parking lot. They were fighting inside the business that spilled outside the business, and a firearm was fired in the air multiple times. Multiple shell casings were found on the scene, and a female was injured in the panic and running outside this business. March 21st is when this council set this revocation hearing for today. And finally, I'll note that an email was received by Clarence Thomas, the owner, on March 28th, stating that he was not going to keep the business open, that he would not contest the revocation. Out of all these incidents, I went over, and believe me, there's a lot more to what I just read you. There's a whole file, probably about this big, on all these incidents. And again, this has all happened in the last year. 5 of those incidents involved firearms. And after that, I'll just open it up any questions regarding anything I went over.
Do any councilors have any questions for Mr. Odom? Thank you, Mr. Odom, for the timeline there.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else present this evening who wishes to speak in favor of the resolution to revoke the license? Is there anyone present this evening that would like to speak against this resolution to revoke the license? Yes, sir. Please come forward, state your name and address for the city clerk, and you will have 3 minutes to address the council.
Hello, my name is Rustin Williams. I own Retro Game Clinic, which is a store right next to the hookah lounge. And in the last, however long they've been in business, I guess 6 or 8 months, I've had multiple issues with this business. Every Saturday, Sunday morning, when we open up the store, it smells like weed. So when people come in to buy stuff, I don't know how many people leave my store based on the fact that it smells that way. I've been in business for 10 years. I've never had any issues with any tenants up till now. And so it's, like I said, it's like clockwork every Saturday and Sunday morning. It smells like weed. There's liquor bottles outside of my game store. People are coming in to buy Nintendo games, Mario and stuff, so if they come in and see a liquor bottle, they're probably not going to want to come in there, so it's affected my business more than you probably know. So it's really affected me. When they originally got in there, it was fine, and I've had no issues with any of my tenants this 10 years that I've been in business, but like I said, this past year has been pretty rough because there's been people that I've got a very large Facebook following, probably over 5,000 or 6,000 people, and I've had messages like, we used to come there all the time, but we don't come in there anymore based on the fact that it smells like weed. We don't smoke weed in the store. And not knocking anybody that does, but don't do it in business, you know, type of deal. And it, so that's how it personally affects me. And I've been paying taxes for the city for 10 years. I've been, you know, doing what I do, and I've never had an issue up until this past year. So thank you for listening to my concerns.
Thank you. Just for clarification, you are in favor of us revoking their license?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else present who wishes to speak against the revocation of the license? Okay, thank you. At this point, I will call this public hearing closed. At this time, we're invited to stand for our Pledge of Allegiance and our invocation. Councilor Chambers will give the invocation this evening.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's pray. Father, your word says that where 2 or 3 are gathered in your name, you are in their midst. Thank you for being with us today at this meeting. Let this place be full of your glory. Thank you for the gift of life and the opportunity to serve the people of our great city. Give us a spirit of service. Remind us that we are stewards of your authority. Guide us to be the leaders your people need. Help us to act with character and conviction. Help us to listen with understanding and goodwill. Help us to speak with charity and restraint. Even though we may come from different backgrounds, help us to find common ground through which we can agree and come up with lasting solutions. Help us to see the humanity and dignity of those who disagree with us and to treat all persons with the reverence your creation deserves. Help us to be quick to listen and slow to anger when others share their ideas. And finally, Father, renew us with the strength of your presence and the joy of helping to build a community worthy of the human person. We ask this as sons and daughters, confident in your goodness and love. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Madam Clerk, will you call the roll, please?
Here.
Councilor Strickland.
Here.
Councilor Jackson.
Here.
Councilor Chambers.
Here.
Councilor Merritt.
Here.
Councilor Warrentak.
Here.
Councilor Shuster.
Here.
Councilor Hood. Here. Declaring the quorum present, I do call this meeting to order. The character trait of the month is wisdom, seeing and responding to life situations from a perspective that transcends current circumstances. At this time, the chair will entertain a motion to approve the minutes from the public hearing and the city council meeting which were held on March 21st, 2023. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. All in favor of approving these minutes signify by raising your right hand. All opposed by a like sign. And the minutes are approved. I would like to take a minute and recognize an Eagle Scout candidate that we have with us tonight. If Will Renfro would please stand. Will, can you tell us what your project is?
I'm just taking notes on a city council meeting for a merit badge.
Okay, so he's working currently on a merit badge. Will Renfro, I can't even speak tonight, happens to also be my student. So I spent 8 to 3 with this guy, and he's back for another dose tonight. Bless his heart. As if he doesn't get to hear my voice all day long. Glad to have you here. We're really proud of you. Keep up the good work, Will. All right, moving along with our agenda. At this time, we will welcome comments from persons present regarding tonight's agenda only. Please state and write your name and address for the record, and you will have 3 minutes to address the council. Please do keep in mind, this is not a dialogue with the council. It's just an opportunity to present information to the council. Is there anyone present who wishes to speak this evening? Yes, sir, Mr. Cimis.
Thank you. My name is Dr. Gerald Cimis, 141 North Chestnut Street. By way of brief intro, I'm talking about Reso number 2 on the regular agenda for the appointment of the city attorney. For 14 years, a lot of you don't know that we classified our city attorney and provided group health insurance, which I estimate that we probably spent in excess of $600,000 in health claims. A number of us, and including leaders such as the mayor, pledged not to make that mistake again. So in January 2021, Mr. Odom was hired as a contractor for this as a city attorney. Subsequent to that time, his wife gave up her job for a stay-at-home mom, which is admirable. And so with that went the insurance. He read in the HR manual that appointed attorneys can request city benefits, especially health. On February 7th, you may recall I provided you with both the definition of a public employee from the Ethics Commission and from the Open Meetings Act. And I won't read it to you, you have it here in front of you, but basically every time he is a public official, as an appointed official representing the city, he falls under the Ethics Act. So I can't think of a time when that definition is not relevant, as well as the Open Meeting Act tonight. I further explained on that date that Mr. Odom doesn't meet the IRS factor test or the Alabama Department of Labor guidelines for being a city employee, which I provided you. On March 9th, the City Council asked HR attorney Ms. Hicks to make an opinion, and she opined that he is not a city employee and the proposed resolution would not make him a city employee. that he is an independent contractor under IRS guidelines, federal and state law. She further opined that there's no law that prevents you from providing him with benefits in his contract. By the way, I asked the city clerk for a copy of his contract, and they don't have one. So back in January, the HR director recommended changing his IRS Form 1099 for contractor to a W-2 employer, which would allow her to enter him into the group health insurance. But that's not possible if you're not a bona fide employee. The bottom line is your resolution cannot, other by itself, create what's called an employee relationship, which is implied by the fact that the reso has FICA and workers' comp. I fully concur with Ms. Hicks. You can provide all kinds of benefits in his contract as an independent contractor, but he is simply not an employee. Even if it was legal and you could do it, I provided you a handout showing you that it is actually more expensive to provide and make him a city employee.
Mr. Cimis, let me stop you. Your time is up. Thank you very much. Do any councilors have any questions or comments for Mr. Cimis? Thank you.
Dr. Cimis, do you mind completing?
Sure. That form that I gave you not only shows it's more expensive to make him a city employee, but your exposure is $188,000 for a health claim. And this afternoon I found out from Mr. Jim Dawson, he's the Associate Director for Granular Insurance. They're the company that covers any claim over $115,000. And guess what? He said, we only cover bona fide municipal employees. We do not cover contractors. So I wouldn't want you to vote on this and have as your legacy, God forbid, that Mr. Odom and his family of 5 be in a car accident. I wouldn't want to be facing my constituents saying I voted for something that put us at risk for infinity. So I value his work. You value his work. All I'm asking you to do is to handle it the proper way, to make him a contractor, adjust his base compensation, and he can go handle whatever he wants to as part of his benefits. That's all I'm asking, because we've had a good working relationship. We want to retain him, but this reso before you tonight has clear implications that we're trying to tell Mr. Oakley to change from a 1099 to a W-2. And frankly, he doesn't have the authority, and you don't have the authority to do that. Only the IRS and state law. I know I covered a lot. Does anyone else have any questions regarding the resolution and the way it's worded?
Are there any further questions for Mr. Cimis?
Thank you very much for your time and attention.
Is there anyone else present this evening who would like to speak on an item that is on our agenda for this evening? Hearing none, Mr. Mayor, do you have a report for us?
Yes, ma'am. If I might have some points of privilege and ask our Crime Stopper friends to come forward. They would like a moment or so of everyone's attention. Ready, Wagner? Pretty there. Right on.
Good evening again, Mayor, City Council. My name is Ray Wagner. I'm a retired police officer from the city of Prattville. Currently serve as Director of Law Enforcement Relations for Central Alabama Crime Stopper. I have my Executive Director with me tonight, Tony Garrett, and there's one other one of us, David Hicks, who's not here tonight. But we are your Crime Stoppers program. We currently serve 30 counties. We start down in Chambers County, Coffee County, go as far north as Etowah County and Talladega County. But normally the way it works is, City of Prattville will send us a case. We will put that case into a media package and send that out to over 250 media outlets across those 30 counties. But that's not why we're here today. We're actually here today to present Robbie Jackson. Can you come up, please? We're actually here today to present Investigator Jackson will be awarded, presented to Prattville Police Department's 2022 Crime Stopper Officer of the Year. On today's date, on April 4th, 2023, Central Alabama Crime Stoppers award Investigator Robbie Jackson with the title of Prattville Police Department 2022 Crime Stopper of the Year. Police Chief Mark Thompson wrote, Investigator Robbie Jackson was assigned to the Prattville Police Department Drug Enforcement Unit, DEU, January 2022. Since Investigator Jackson has been assigned to the DEU, he has been responsible for almost 40% of the unit's self-initiated cases. While the total number of patrol narcotics cases in the city have seen a 31% reduction, the self-initiated number of patrol narcotics for the DEU have increased about 8%. These percentages quantify the effect that cases from the DEU aggravated pursuit of narcotics is having a great effect for the city of Prattville. A large portion of the success is due to Investigator Jackson's relentless work ethic. While most of the drug enforcement investigator work goes unnoticed due to the confidentiality of the mission, I will share one of Investigator Jackson's successful cases. Investigator Jackson was case agent on a case that led to obtaining a search warrant on a narcotics dealer in the city of Prattville. On January 31, 23, the search warrant was executed. Upon executing the search warrant, approximately 3.5 pounds of marijuana, especially mushrooms, methamphetamine, cocaine, synthetic marijuana, controlled pills, THC edibles, THC vape cartridges, paraphernalia, and multiple firearms were seized. This investigation took multiple firearms out of the drug dealer's hands and led to the drug dealer's arrest. This is just one small example of what is contributing to the reduction of illicit narcotics in our city. Investigator Jackson is a valuable asset to the community and is having a large impact on keeping the city safe for its citizens. The Prattville Police Department would like to nominate Investigator Robbie Jackson for the Crime Stoppers Officer of the Year Award due to his professionalism and dedication to service. Investigator Robbie Jackson. On behalf of Central Alabama Crime Stoppers, we are honored to present you with the Prattville Police Department 2022 Crime Stoppers Officer of the Year Award. With this award tonight comes a goodie bag from one of our partners from Gulf States. There's quite a few police items in there for you. Also has a $50 gift card. Mayor and City Council, he also will be placed in a larger pool for the State Officer of the Year. And in that, he'll get, of course, a larger goodie bag, and he'll be eligible for a brand new 9mm Ruger handgun. So if y'all would, pray for him, and hopefully he'll win that thing. Of course, that's my vote. But thank y'all for listening to us. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you. Mayor.
One, two, three. One more. 1, 2, 3.
Give him one more round of applause. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I tell you what, it's just good to know that we have officers and investigators like that in our Prattville Police Department. Well, Madam President, if I'd like to extend the point of privilege, and I actually would like to have Eddie Davis and family come forward at this time. And while they're coming forward, they would like to talk a little bit about a event that happened to them that could turn very, very tragic. But while they were making their way forward, before I turn the microphone over, I'd like to also ask for Officer Russell Kennan to come forward as well. I'll turn the microphone over to.
Last Monday morning rather, the 27th, I was awakened by the cat running around and Officer Cannon knocking on my door. And at that time, when I got up, I saw a ball of fire in my house. And I've never experienced or seen a ball of fire like that. I've heard of fires, and I've heard of house fires, but y'all just think y'all came to city council meeting, but we're going to have church, because I've got to tell this. He woke me up, and he knocked on my door, and I went to the door, and he said, "Ma'am, your house is on fire." And I said, "I know," because I had seen that ball of fire. Well, he said, "You need to come out." I think is how he worded it. "You need to come out." And I'm thinking, I need to put on some pants. I need to put on pants and a nightshirt. And at that time, he should have grabbed me, but he didn't. But I turned around and I said, "I'm going to get me some pants." So I go through my house, underneath a ball of fire, to my den to get a pair of pants. Well, the pants weren't in the den that I know of. I couldn't find them. But I turned around, and I tell you this because of the miracle that God did through the whole situation. I don't care whether you believe in God, but He spared my life that night because I couldn't find my pants. So I turned around, and I was going to my back door, and the ball of fire is here, and my back door is here. I could not open my back door. Praise God, I couldn't, because that's where the fire had destroyed my porch and gone in the roof. But at the same time, he had his flashlight over the way, and he said, "Ma'am, come to the light." And I'm sitting there thinking, I've heard when you die, you're supposed to go to the light. And I thought, well, is it time? But I'll go to the light. So when I went to the light, he was there and grabbed my arm, and we went out. And that's the part of the testimony, but there were two miracles that happened that night. One, he knocked on my door, and then one, he told me, "Come to the light." And so I just said all that to say this, that everything's gone. The fire's destroyed my house, but that's okay, because I'm alive.
That's right.
Because of him.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
All right. I'm Pam's brother-in-law, and I'm a retired firefighter from Montgomery, and also served in the military. I would like to thank the city council, this mayor, for supporting your police department. All of our first responders are under the gun today. In a lot of cities, we're having banned the police and all this. I want to thank you for being a council and a mayor that supports our first responders, and particularly our police department. They do a thankless job. I did it for 20 years. I understand. And I just want to thank you. And by the way, I would recommend strongly that on your first agenda every year for your finances that you consider the pay of your first responders. I know you do, but they do a thankless job. And if I was to tell him I thank him right now, he would say, "I'll just do my job." But that's what he's doing. I thank you for putting him on the street. And I thank God for putting him on that street that night. Thank all of you, and God bless you. I'll tell you, those are some testimonies that it's hard to follow up with. But I think one thing I can safely say is that, Mr. Cannon, I think you now have some new extended family. And you can have the rest of your extended family to come on up while I read this Life-Saving Merit Award. It's Life-Saving Merit Award presented to Officer Russell Cannon in recognition of your courageous life-saving actions on March 27, 2023, at the scene of a burning home in the area of Dozier Avenue, Prattville, Alabama, placing yourself in the harm's way in order to assist and save another human life. Your quick thinking and dedication to the citizens of Prattville brings great credit upon yourself, Prattville Police Department, City of Prattville, and law enforcement in general. And so on this day, hope you will accept this and will also be remembered. And I know your extended family has so many great things to continue to say about you. But thank you, Council. Well, it just goes to show how the extended families around here work. Eddie Davis, is, I also call him Etzel. He works in our engineering department, especially with the traffic lights and everything. But it's just a great day when you have some stories like that one. You know, I'd be amiss if I did not mention how right now, during this month, is 911 telecommunications appreciation. 911 Without 911, our police and fire department could not properly answer the call and be on the scene at the proper time. And 911 also helps protect the officers when they are there in case they're needed for backup and any other assistance on that one. But just goes to show how well this community loves and respects our public safety. Counselors, I'd like to say we were very fortunate that the tornado that came through our area last Sunday, before last, we're fortunate we did not have any injuries. It was impressive to see the immediate response from our public safety department, our public works, engineering, and parks and recreation teams in the cleanup after the EF0 tornado. I was personally able to see so many of the neighbors helping neighbors after the storm too, and it still is going on even through today. It definitely makes me be proud to see how all the hard work and the love of this community is really coming together. You know, our first responders were there, our engineering, our parks and recs, and I'd be amiss if I did not mention that we'd also need to thank alignment. Our Alabama Power, they worked very feverishly to clear and restore power after this event. You know, there's times that we take so many different things for granted in life. Sometimes it's the power, gas, the utilities that are out there, but as today, there might be one or two that are still not having their power restored because of some damages to their house, but also the linemen and Alabama Power need to be thanked on this one. On another note, during this same timeline, we received roughly about 5+ inches of rain, and we had just finished up almost finished up on the stormwater project on Selma Highway. We had the pipes in, we had the asphalt down, we still had some sod and some other items we need to clean up on, but this storm was also a test of time on this project, so it kept out some flooding that normally happens on Selma Highway. On another note, councilors, weather permitting, city crews will start demolition of the Stanley Jensen Fieldhouse on Friday. Bid openings for the stadium's renovation is tentatively scheduled for June. I look forward to bringing this project to fruition, as I know several here on the council do as well. And after to keep everyone in the loop, there's been a lot of discussion about our 6th Street project. Mandatory pre-bid meeting for the 6th Street Improvement Project is this Thursday. I'll be sure to keep everyone posted as this project progresses. I would also like to wish everyone a happy Easter. Madam President, this is the end of my report.
Mr. Mayor, just a small correction. I believe the destruction of the field house will begin on Tuesday of next week.
So it's been moved to Tuesday?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I did receive a report that Becky from 911 is here, so would you like to address that?
Yes. If she and her crew could come forward, because I actually, what do you know, I happen to have a proclamation here.
How about that?
It's just me. How are y'all? Hello.
We're glad that you are here, and this proclamation we have for not only you, but on your staff over there, where emergencies can occur at any time, require police, fire, emergency medical services, whereas when an emergency occurs, the prompt response of police officers, firefighters, and paramedics are critical to the protection of life and preservation of property, whereas the safety of our citizens and first responders is dependent upon the quality and accuracy of information communicated from citizens to the Talbot County 911 emergency service, whereas public safety telecommunications are the vital link for emergency services by monitoring their activity on radio and relaying information effectively that ensures their safety. Whereas the Talbot County 911 telecommunications has contributed to the apprehension of criminals, suppression of fires, and treatment of patients, and whereas dispatchers have to exhibit calmness as well as compassion, understanding, professionalism in all daily duties. Therefore, as the mayor of the city of Prattville, hereby proclaim April 9th through April 15th as Public Safety Telecommunications Week in Prattville, Alabama. Hope you accept this and you pass this along, and we'll be back at your office sometime in the next few weeks.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Would you like to have a moment?
Well, when I started in 911 was about 20 plus years ago. I worked at Clark County 911 and I worked with some great people, but they do not compare with the people who work in 911 here. The month of the tornado, 2 people came in on our off days just to help answer the telephones. We ended up, you don't ever want to put a 911 caller on hold, but we had no choice. We had to put 29 callers on hold. And they were devastated by having to do that. But they work diligently to work as a team. They always do. I just can't say enough good things about them. They have birth babies. Just today before I left at 5 o'clock, they had 136 calls for service today. 4 people from 6 a.m. to 5 o'clock had 136 calls for service. They dispatched 4 Prattville PD, Prattville Fire, 11 volunteer fire departments, the Sheriff's Office. We also answer all the 911 calls for Talbot County. So we're working toward getting fully staffed, but I just want to say I love being in Prattville. I've been here since June, and everybody there is just great. They want what's best for their city, their county, and all of their first responders. So thank you very much.
Well, if you don't mind, let's have a quick photo right here.
Oh, well, right here.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, just one moment. Does any other councilor have any questions or comments for the mayor? Thank you. At this time, we will move into reports from the council on special committees. Councilor Strickland. Councilor Jackson.
No.
Councilor Chambers.
Ma'am.
Councilor Merrick.
No, ma'am.
Councilor Fuerte.
No, ma'am.
Councilor Sturgeon. Don't worry, Councilor Merrick, you will get your turn. We'll make sure you get a committee report very, very soon. All right, at this time, we do have the opportunity to create a consent agenda. On tonight's consent agenda is resolution number 1, to surplus personal property from the executive department. Resolution number 2, to surplus personal property from the information technology department. Resolution number 3, to reschedule the city council meeting from July 4th, 2023. Resolution number 4, to appoint Carol W. Pearson to the Industrial Development Board. Resolution number 5, to set a public hearing to declare the abundance of overgrown grass and weeds, keeping garbage and rubbish and stagnant water at 1926 Terra Drive a public nuisance, and in order the abatement pursuant to Title 11, Chapter 57 of the Code of Alabama 1975 as amended, and Sections 46-4 and 46-6, City of Prattville Code of Ordinances. Resolution number 6, to set a public hearing for a lounge retail liquor Class 2 license for GAJANAN26 LLC, doing business as Bama Spirits. Is there a motion to create a consent agenda?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Is there any discussion on creating a consent agenda? All in favor of creating a consent agenda, signify by raising your right hand. All opposed by a like sign. The consent agenda is now before us. Is there a motion to adopt the consent agenda?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Is there any discussion on the consent agenda? Hearing none, all in favor signify by raising your right hand. All opposed by a like sign. And the consent agenda is adopted. Now we will move into our regular agenda. Resolution number 1, Administration Business License Revocation, Cloud9 Hookah Lounge. Councilor Gornto, will you introduce this resolution, please?
Yes, ma'am. Whereas it has been recommended to the City Council that the 2023 business license issued to Cloud9 Hookah Lounge located at 1732 East Main Street, Prattville, Alabama 36066 be revoked. And whereas proper notification by certified mail has been made to the business owner and operator of the impending action by letter from Mayor Bill Gillespie Jr. And whereas a public hearing was held on April 4th, 2023 at 6 p.m. to show cause why said license should not be revoked. And whereas Mr. Clarence Thomas, registered owner, responded by email on Tuesday, March 28, 2023, advising of his intention to not contest the revocation of said license. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Prattville that the Finance Director is hereby authorized to revoke the 2023 business license number 202100501, issued to Cloud9 Hookah Lounge, located at 1732 East Main Street, Prattville, Alabama 36066. And the continuation of the business in the City of Prattville shall constitute a violation of the City of Prattville Code of Ordinances and shall be punishable accordingly. Be it further resolved that notification of this action will be mailed to the owner by certified mail at the last known address of record. So moved, Madam President.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Is there any discussion on this resolution? Hearing none, all in favor of this resolution signify by raising your right hand. All opposed by a like sign. And this resolution passes. Resolution number 2 is to amend the fiscal year 2023 budget and resolution book 2021, page 012, appointing Andrew Lee Odom as city attorney for the 2020 to 2024 quadrennium. Councilor Strichick, will you introduce this resolution, please?
Yes, ma'am. Whereas pursuant to resolution book 2021, page 012, the City of Prattville appointed Andrew Lee Odom, DD Odom Litigation Team LLC, as attorney for the 2020-2024 quadrennium. And whereas there is a need to amend the resolution to change the legal operating name under which Mr. Odom will perform his prescribed duties. Now therefore be resolved by the City of Prattville, the City of Prattville, that effective April 5th, 2023, Andrew Lee Odom is hereby appointed to perform all usual and ordinary services as attorney for the City of Prattville as previously prescribed. Be it further resolved that the city attorney shall receive compensation through monthly payroll not to exceed the original $23,000 per year amount. In addition to reimbursement of any other normal or customary reimbursable legal services and expenses at an hourly rate of $175. And that said appointment shall continue through 2020 through 2024 quadrennium or until successor is duly qualified and appointed. Be it further resolved by the City Council of the City of Prattville that the fiscal 2023 budget is hereby amended as follows. Decrease city clerk legal services $23,000, increase city clerk salaries and wages $23,000, decrease city clerk professional services $18.30.72, increase city clerk FICA $17.59.50, increase city workman's comp $71.22. Be it further resolved that the funds in the amount not to exceed $24,830.72 are hereby authorized and approved from the various fiscal 2020 budget line items noted above. So moved, Madam President.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. At this point, I'm going to bring Attorney Hope Hicks forward to begin our discussion. She is an attorney specializing in HR, and I'm going to have her address some things, and then later during discussion we can certainly ask her questions. But I think if she addresses us first, she might cover things that we ask questions on. Thank you, Ms. Hicks. You have the floor.
Thank you, Councilor. I was asked to look at this from the standpoint of, could the City of Prattville extend these benefits to the city attorney? He is a part-time position. He is an independent contractor. The City of Prattville hires him to do designated work, but you don't designate when or how he does this work. He's also free to do legal work through his LLC and through his firm. So he would remain an independent contractor. You have the right to negotiate with an independent contractor to pay them what you see fit to pay them. You don't have any sort of boundaries on you that say you can't offer benefits to an independent contractor. I listened to Dr. Cimis' comments earlier, and I appreciate his due diligence. Unfortunately, he's simply wrong about a couple of things. The statutes that he cited about the Open Meetings Act and the ethics laws and the definitions there are very specific to those laws. Mr. Odom, as a part-time attorney who doesn't make more than 50% of his salary, is not covered by the ethics laws. He's not covered as a public employee under the Open Meetings Act. This is simply, you're deciding to negotiate a new contract with him that would include benefits. This will not make him an employee. It will not extend to him any additional rights for leave, for a merit system. He wouldn't have any right to have due process if you decide to cancel his contract or not renew his contract. This simply is if the council chooses to offer him health insurance benefits. Your other two part-time lawyers that you have, your municipal judge and your city prosecutor, already received these benefits. I reviewed the Attorney General's opinions on this. I see no prohibition against that. They've been getting them since the 90s. I've also reviewed the information from the examiners. I see nothing that would prohibit you from them. This is simply not an IRS issue. You can give benefits to somebody. This is a matter of Mr. Odom has to properly file his taxes. That's the IRS issue there. It's not an issue for the council. Your other two are paid by W-2 and not by 1099. That's been an easier system for you to do because it allows the payroll deduction to come out for the employee portion or the attorney portion of the health insurance. In this situation, Mr. Odom could be paid by 1099 and the amount that he's paid monthly could be reduced, or he can be paid by W-2. That would be something that he would need to work out with Mr. Oakley and Ms. Thrash, the easiest way to do that. But you have every right to do this should the council so vote to do so.
Thank you, Ms. Hicks. Do we have any questions from the council for Ms. Hicks while she's here? Thank you very much for your time and your explanation. Is there discussion from the council at this point on resolution number 2? Yes, sir, Mr. Strickland.
My concern, I guess, is I was not aware that we already had 2 other legal individuals that are receiving this benefits from the city. I was aware that when we had an opening for a city attorney, we looked at comparative retainers that were paid by like-size cities. And we were paying less than $2,000 a month. The highest was paying $7,500 a month, and that city was a shade smaller than we are. If the major idea is to provide additional insurance or provide health insurance, my thought would have been, and still is to increase the retainer and then keep it as a contracted employee, which provides clear definition, and go from there. But that's my personal opinion.
Thank you, Mr. Strickland. Is there other discussion from other councilors? Yes, sir, Mr. Gortat.
Yes, so I agree with Mr. Strickland. I'm not personally in favor of making him an employee. Not that I have anything against Andrew. I think he's done a fantastic job. I just think this protects us as a city. I agree that I think we should just increase his compensation. I've seen a couple of quotes for private insurance for a family of 5 around the $13,000 to $14,000 ballpark. So I think it would be fair for us to have him remain as an independent contractor, just increase his salary by $13,000 to $14,000 to allow him the opportunity to get insurance on his own.
Thank you, Mr. Gortat. Do any other councilors have any discussion?
Yeah.
Yes, sir, Mr. Jackson.
And of course, I fully support Andrew as well. Ms. Thrash, what's the reason, or how did y'all come to the conclusion that we needed to set his salary at the rate that it is right now? And is there anything that will prevent us from increasing it?
The salaries of the attorneys was raised, I think, about 7 or 8 years ago. Council President Strickland was president at that time. And I think we increased it from 16 to 23. That was just, I think we did a census and found out what other cities were offering, and I think that was the number that was agreed upon. We've recently increased the judge's salary as well over the past few years. The judge and the prosecutor are currently paid as payroll employees and have been, at least since I've been here, 20 years. So has the city attorney, for that matter, until the last appointment.
Ms. Thrash, are both those judicial, as I refer to them, individuals, judge and prosecutor, are they receiving health benefits from the city?
One has chosen the health benefits, one has not chosen the health benefits, but participates in our flexible spending plan. So they have the option to enroll each year at open enrollment.
Okay. Everyone that gets a paycheck is eligible for the flexible enrollment then?
Not everyone that gets a paycheck, but all the people who are full-time employees or appointed or elected officials are eligible to participate.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Do any other councilors have any discussion on this matter? Here are my comments. I do not believe that this is changing Mr. Odom's status. From being an independent contractor, he would remain that. In the current job market, our group health insurance is an attractive package to acquire, but also to retain quality employees. If we do not follow through and offer insurance to our current attorney, we may lose not only our current attorney, but also our current prosecutor and our current judge, because what is good for the goose is good for the gander, and those on the council need to be aware of this as well. These are my comments at the time. Is there any further discussion from the council on resolution number 2? Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. All in favor of resolution number 2, please signify by raising your right hand. All opposed by a like sign. Any abstentions? And this resolution passes. Resolution number 3 is to grant a retail off-premise only and retail table wine off-premise only license to Shri Ganesh 25 Incorporated, doing business as Quick Shops 130. Councilor Merrick, will you introduce this resolution, please?
Yes, ma'am, Madam President. Whereas Shri Ganesh 25 Incorporated, doing business as Quick Shops 130, has obtained a business located at 203 Interstate Commercial Park Loop, Prattville, Alabama 36066, which is a convenience store and gas station. And whereas said business has applied for a retail beer, off-premises only, and retail table wine, off-premises only license. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Prattville hereby approves the issuance of the retail beer, off-premises only, and retail table wine, off-premises only, license of the business located at 203 Interstate Commercial Park Loop, Prattville, Alabama 36066, to Shri Ganesh Incorporated, doing business as Quick Shops 130. So moved, Madam President.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? We have a second. Is there any discussion on resolution number 3? Hearing none, all in favor of resolution number 3 signify by raising your right hand. All opposed by a like sign. And this resolution is adopted. This concludes our items on our agenda tonight. At this point, the council welcomes comments from persons present. Please come to the front, state your name and address for the record, and you will have up to 3 minutes to address the council. Is there anyone who would like to speak? Yes, ma'am, Ms. Finnegan.
John May Finnegan, 211 Beatrice. Definition from the Oxford Languages. Nepotism, the practice among those with power or influence of favoring relatives, friends, or associates, especially by giving them jobs. The reason I gave you that description is because I have concerns and questions regarding Council President Boone's son Matthew being hired last month as the cemetery and grant administrator at $42,000 plus. The reason I'm bringing this up is I know that Mr. and Mrs. Boone are close friends with Mr. Gillespie, but my main concern is his qualifications. I looked at his qualifications on LinkedIn, and it said that he was a warehouse team member for Buffalo Rock part-time for about a year and a half. He was also a lifeguard for the city of Prattville, a lifeguard for the Prattville Country Club, and then earlier he worked as a file manager in his father's business. There were 8 total applicants. I have asked to see the applications because I just cannot believe a young man that graduated from college in December has the qualifications to write grants that are needed for the city. The reason I'm saying this now is because you vote on expenditures. Grants help lessen those expenditures. And I looked through the minutes, and on 12/7/21 at the council minute, the mayor reported on McQueen Smith. It says, he reported the city has made several attempts to secure federal grant funding for the widening of McQueen Smith Road, and the city was not awarded the raised grant. I think we need somebody that has a lot more experience, and again, I cannot believe the other 7 were less experienced than this young man. This is not to disparage your son, because I'm sure he's quite fine. What I am worried about is his capability. So I really want you to think about this. I don't know if there's anything that can be done, but I just find that this smells, and I'm sorry, it smells. And it smells of nepotism. I don't know who did the interviews. I don't know when the interviews were held, but I just find this very suspicious.
Ms. Finning, if I may, this hire was not through the action of the council.
I know it isn't, but you vote on expenditures. The grant writer is the one who get grants to lessen the expenditures. And as the mayor said, they've been trying to get raised grants, and they've been turned down and turned down. We need someone with experience.
Yes.
In time, I'm quite sure he would be, but this is not the place to begin grant writing for a city.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other councilors have any comments or questions for Ms. Finnegan? Thank you. Mr. Cimis?
Dr. Gerald Cimis, 141 North Chestnut Street. I just wanted to clarify a few things that Ms. Hicks told you. Had you looked at the rest of the ethics law, it talks about a public official, that being an appointed municipal person such as Andrew Odom. Have you ever heard of the use of public office for personal gain? So she is incorrect when she tells you he does not fall under the ethics. He does, and she's correct that he doesn't meet the definition of a personal employee, a public employee, but he is a public official. The second problem that you have, and I'll go back to the IRS, I've met with them numerous times, so this isn't going away. I don't believe you can take someone that's an independent contractor and give them a W-2 so that you can slide them group health benefits. I said that you can provide him health benefits, but not through the group. You can ask Mrs. Thrash. She sent you an email on March 19th saying, we need to get his 1099 changed to a W-2, otherwise I can't give him group health benefits. That's why she said that. So if it's true that the IRS requires independent contractors to receive a 1099, then city group health is off the board. You can give him money in his compensation for group health. You can give him money for clothing allowance. You can give him Robert Trent Jones tickets. although I don't think that'll sit well with the folks behind me. The third problem that you have, you just passed a resolution with FICA. He's a self-employed independent contractor. There is no such thing as FICA for a self-employed. It's called SE, self-employment tax, and it happens to be 15.3%. You should not be paying FICA 7.65. So I'm just letting you know, after 14 years, this isn't going away, and I'm going to challenge it. And I told you I was going to challenge it, and I think if you have any doubts about me bluffing, you can ask the Prattville Industrial Development Board, as I have a trial scheduled for them violating the Open Meetings Act. So I just want you to know that part of what Ms. Hicks told you may not be true. Does anybody have any questions?
Do any councilors have any questions for Mr. Cimis? Thank you, Mr. Cimis, for your comments. Is there anyone else present this evening who would like to speak to the council? Yes, sir, Mr. White.
Reverend L. White, 621 West 4th Street, proud. What Dr. Cimis said is correct. I got a master's degree in HR, and I worked HR 25 years for the military. So what he's saying is absolutely correct. And the reason why we have a Supreme Court, because we don't take the opinion of one justice, we take the opinion of several. I would advise you all to listen to understand instead of listen to respond. Some of you all are quick to respond, but not listen to understand. And dual relationships. You know, we have to be very careful in a professional environment of having dual relationships where we hire people based on relationship because they might not be fully qualified. Maybe not fully qualified. And who get hurt? The city get hurt behind that. Because we do it because we hire somebody because the good old voice system, or we hire somebody because, oh, we good friends, versus doing what's good for the taxpayers of this good, great city. I ask y'all to go back and look at that because you as a city council, as the mayor said, because you said it before, Laura Lee, that, oh, we don't have to answer to the people. But the mayor came up here, yeah, you did, and it was, but y'all purposely took down that video. And some of the citizens here knew you said it, I heard you say it, so you can deny it all you want. You, on the other hand, Mayor, said the other day, he don't work for you, you don't work for him, but you do work for the citizens of this great city, and you do. You work for all the citizens, not some of the citizens, but all these citizens. Regardless if they voted for you, whether they're in your district or not, you work for every last one of them. Regardless if you want to return your constituent email, when they email you consistently and you refuse to respond to an email, when you specifically said, just email us and I'll respond, which I know for a fact, I've seen some of the emails that you refuse to respond to. But y'all owe it to these great citizens to look at and make accountable for the hires they do in the city, because that affects every last one of them, including you all, because y'all taxpayers as well. And if we not getting our bang for our buck for somebody that can write a grant that can lessen the amount of money that we spend in taxes, then that's an injustice to this city. And while we're talking about drugs, why wasn't anyone up there in the city, in Prattville Junior High and Prattville High School, they found drugs and guns up there, but yeah, it's not a charge over there in juvenile court. Oh, I checked, not one charge. Thank you.
Do any councilors have any questions for Mr. White? Thank you, Mr. White, for your comments. Yes, sir, Mr. Lucas.
Councilor Patrick F. Lucas, Senior, 1211 Caliber Crossing, Prattville, Alabama. I wasn't going to get up tonight. I wasn't. A citizen asked me, why don't I stand when you guys pray? They asked me why I don't stand up for the Pledge of Allegiance. So I'm going to answer that in front of y'all. You said during your prayer give us the wisdom, give us knowledge, give us what we need to do to deal with the people. And then you come right after that prayer, and then you vote or say things that you know is not right. That's a problem. Second thing, I know this is not a dialogue, and you guys really don't care what we say, because it shows. We've talked about this man right here, economic development. All the things that come up, you guys still haven't done anything. Because, hey, I guess birds of a feather flock together, and you guys feel the same way he do. And that's fine too. Your son, somebody mentioned nepotism, and then they explained it. How is it fair to the community? The community don't even get a chance. You said you guys are diverse, you don't look at race, you don't look at that, you look at the contents of the character. We all know that's hogwash. You presented these police officers with a lot of merits today. A lot of them. First responders, they go do this and they go do that. But if I was to ask, how many phone calls 911 you get from College Heights during the course of a weekend? How many respond to it? How many times the police go up there? And I commend the officer for waking her up. But what about the elderly up in College Heights that are on machines, 60, 80, 90 years old, all weekend, just party, party, party? But now when the event center was there last year, a couple years ago, one person called, y'all had 4 or 5 calls deep. If you're going to be the city council for the people, it needs to be for everybody, not just a certain set. And y'all said, hey, we care about this city, maybe parts of the city, but it can't be all of the city. Still haven't seen nothing happen in North Highland. But I know y'all working on it. As I told those who asked me about it, when I see some ground being moved and I smell some diesel and some fumes, I'll believe it. Because from where I stand, everything that comes out of y'all mouth is a lie. Everything. When it comes to that community up there. And so before you get up here and say anything negative, I stand on what I said. Do your job.
Is there anyone else present who wishes to speak this evening? I would like to make some comments. I would like to address the recent comments on social media and tonight regarding the hiring of Matthew Boone in the Cemeteries Department. The City of Prattville is one of the largest employers in Watauga County. Matthew worked part-time in the Parks and Rec Department for many summers while in school. It makes perfect sense that he applied for a posted city job opening just after college amid his job search. He applied and went through the same process, testing, and vetting as all other candidates. My husband nor I had any contact with the Human Resources Department about that process. Neither Matthew's last name nor his connection to me should hold him back from seeking or receiving employment with the City of Prattville. Those are the end of my comments. At this point, we will move into closing comments. Mr. Mayor.
No, ma'am.
Councilor Strickland.
No, ma'am.
Councilor Jackson.
No.
Councilor Chambers.
Sure. Will Renfro, thanks for hanging in tonight, man. Good luck on that Eagle Scout. And just want to say thank you to all the first responders and what you guys do, and hope everybody has a happy Easter. Thank you.
Councilor Merritt.
Again, thanks for our first responders. Thank you for what we have here in our great community. Be safe on your travels, folks, and have a wonderful Easter weekend.
Councilor Gorto. Councilor Strucci.
Yeah, I thank the Parks and Recreation Department, of course, and all other departments that helped with the wonderful job they did on the Wilson Pickett Festival, Music and Arts Festival this past weekend. And the thing we had a dumpster afterwards, I had to miss it, but my son's birthday, so duty call. Did a great job to our Parks and Rec Department, and I think it's a great event for our entire community.
Our next regularly scheduled council meeting is Tuesday, April the 18th, 2023 at 6 p.m. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
So moved. We have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
We have a second. All in favor say yay.
Yay.
Opposed, nay. We are adjourned.